Mr. Simon Jordan, did you see what the bold Cristiano Ronaldo did at his pre-match press conference when he removed Coca Cola bottles in front of him? Of course, Coca Cola, the official Euro 2020 sponsor,
Yep.
and shouted, "Drink water instead." I mean, what does this tell? Is this brand Ronaldo, Simon, getting a bit above its station?
Well, this is the same Ronaldo that was working with KFC, and the Colonel was obviously good to him. And the same Ronaldo that had Castrol Oil. I'm sure the fossil fuel and the COP26 people that are in climate control and wanting to look at the world would have issues with that. Listen, he has a right to express his views, and he has a right to understand the values that he wants to attach. I wonder if his CR7 underpants are made by some Bangladeshi sweatshop, and he'll have that horror come back and haunt him. Underpants, not incontinence pants, Jim. Don't get carried away. But listen, I mean, there's a balance between. He's a very influential footballer, and footballers now contain or have the ability to have a lot of leverage. They have a lot of followers. They have a lot of influence. But he also is still only a part of a cog that turns the wheel, and he must understand that being at a tournament where sponsors are part and parcel of it, you put yourself in the way of causing an unnecessary amount of issue. By simply behaving in that fashion, you are getting a little bit ahead of yourself. So whilst it's good to have morals, you need to make sure that every aspect of your life has been absolutely perfect. And I've just given you two examples where sponsorship, you can also talk about his Nike relationship. With the greatest respect in the world, Nike with Alberto Salazar behind the Nike Oregon project, have a lot of questions to ask, be asked and answered. So if you're going to throw these sort of brickbats, which is what he's doing, you need to be absolutely clear that there's no hypocrisy that'll come visit you again.
Yeah, well, do you know what he's done though, Chris? It's backfired on Ronaldo because he's made Coca Cola headline news today.
Well, he's done exactly what they want. They'll be sitting there rubbing their hands together. But I agree with Simon. I think with Ronaldo, he knows in this environment what he can do and what he can't do. But again, he has great influence. I tell my children all the time, you're drinking too much pop. Make sure you drink water. At the end of the day, but. So he does have that influence, but again, he's been in this environment. He knows what he can and can't say. He knows that there's going to be repercussions for the fact that he's moved them. It's product placement, isn't it? That's the whole point of them sponsoring the competition. He's in the know-how. I just don't understand why he's done it. He's seen he's come out. He's looked around at the places beside him. He sees that they're there. He's chose to move it, for one, but then he's chose to say, drink water instead. Coca-Cola, they'll be delighted. Any publicity is publicity at the end of the day.
Well, it is. Alex, the wider question for me, should he be fined?
I think he probably will be. Because obviously they paid a lot of money to sponsor this tournament, to be associated with this feast of football over the course of the summer. Yes, no publicity is bad publicity, but I think UEFA will probably throw the bucket in for this.
I mean, he deserves a rap in the knuckles, Simon, does he not?
Yes, I do. I think ultimately, he needs to have his mind concentrated because whilst he is an important footballer, he is simply a footballer. He is in the frame because of people like sponsorship deals that are put into place that enable him and people like him to benefit and prosper. Yes, I do think it's right to highlight the ideals and issues behind products like Coca Cola, but that comes then to the territory of parental responsibility. And he can take parental responsibility for his kids in the same way that Chris takes responsibilities for his and I take responsibility for mine. And the world turns upon parental responsibility for our children. But going on television at a press conference when a major sponsor is sat there with product placement and having, to some extent, the audacity to express your views over it and to do it in such a condescending way probably tells you where his mind is at this moment in time about how important
that's true.
it is.
I mean, Simon, if you were, say, the president of Coca Cola, and who's to say you won't be one day, how would you react today?
Well, look, I think Alex is quite right. There's only one thing worse than people talking about you is people not talking about you. So in that instance, you would be looking at it and saying, I've got more column inches as a result of this than I would have got naturally from another position. But by the same token, you don't want to see anybody being clearly disparaging of your product. So I'd be uncomfortable about it, but I'm not sure how much of a production I'd make about it because, again, you're then creating a furore that perhaps you don't necessarily need but can benefit from the current level of it, but taking it any further, you start to make a mountain out of a molehill.
Simon, is there any conflict of interest with the players' personal sponsorships when it comes to that, or does the tournament just override all?
Well, yes, there will be, and no, there won't be. Ultimately, you've got a situation where the contracts that they enter into, they will know that they're international footballers. They will know that they're going to feature in tournaments. So those conditionalities that they will or won't be able to have to abide by will have been well thought through, well factored in, because you're not talking about, with greatest well, Jack Hendry from KV Ostund, who I like to mention repeatedly to Jim when I was so excited to see him in the Scotland lineup. But you're talking about international icons like Cristiano Ronaldo, who sign these contracts for fun. So I don't really think there is a conflict of interest there, Chris, because it would all have been dealt with as a matter of course at the very early stages of engaging with a Ronaldo or a Messi.
Yep. You know something? When Jack Henry goes on to become a global star, that's going to come back to bite you in a whole
Yeah.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.